If you grew up in the late 2000s watching Disney Channel or Tyler Perry's House of Payne, you definitely remember the lovable, chubby kid who made us laugh every single episode. That kid was Malik Payne, played by the talented Doc Shaw. But here's what most people don't know. Behind that infectious smile was a story of unimaginable tragedy, relentless bullying, and a painful struggle that would eventually transform into one of the most inspiring comeback stories in Hollywood. When Doc Shaw returned to House of Payne years later, fans were absolutely shocked by what they saw. The transformation was so dramatic that people actually thought he was dying. Some even compared his situation to Chadwick Boseman's tragic passing. But the real story behind Doc Shaw's journey is far more complex, and honestly, way more powerful than anyone realized. So buckle up, because today we're diving deep into the tragic life and incredible resilience of the actor who brought Malik Payne to life. Let's go back to the beginning. Laramie Cortez Shaw was born on April 24th, 1992, in Atlanta, Georgia. Now, you might be wondering where that nickname Doc came from, and honestly, it's pretty wholesome. His grandparents noticed something special about young Laramie from the very beginning. They saw this incredible gift in him, this natural charisma and presence that you just can't teach, and they gave him the nickname Doc, because they knew he was destined for something great. Doc was the only child of Larry and Tammy Shaw. His father, Larry, was actually the one who first recognized Doc's potential for entertainment. He got his son into modeling when Doc was just a little kid, and honestly, the boy took to it like a fish to water. Doc started appearing in print ads and television commercials, moving through the industry at an impressive pace. Everything seemed to be falling perfectly into place for this talented young kid from Atlanta. But then, tragedy struck in the most devastating way possible. In 1994, when Doc was only 2 years old, his father Larry was killed in a car accident. Can you even imagine that? A 2-year-old child losing his father, the very person who had jump-started his entire career and believed in him from day one. It's the kind of loss that would break most people, especially at such a young age when you're just beginning to understand the world around you. But here's what's remarkable about Doc Shaw. Even as a young child, instead of letting this tragedy define him in a negative way, he held on to his father's vision for his life. At just 6 years old, Doc went to his mother, Tammy, and asked her to find him an agent because he wanted to continue the career his father had started for him. Think about that level of determination from a 6-year-old kid. That's not just talent, that's drive, that's purpose. That's a young boy honoring his father's memory in the most beautiful way possible. And Tammy Shaw, being the incredible mother she is, made it happen. By age 6, Doc was booking commercial after commercial, steadily building the foundation for what would become a remarkable acting career. Fast forward to 2006, and 14-year-old Doc Shaw landed the role that would change his life forever. Tyler Perry cast him as Malik Payne in the TBS sitcom House of Payne, and honestly, it was perfect casting. Malik was introduced as this witty, hilarious preteen whose antics constantly landed him in unintentional trouble. Sound familiar to anyone who watched the show? Doc brought such authenticity and charm to the character that audiences immediately fell in love with him. What made Doc's portrayal of Malik so special was how real it felt. This wasn't just some kid reading lines off a script. Doc Shaw understood Malik on a deeper level because, in many ways, he was living through similar experiences. He was a teenager navigating the complexities of growing up, dealing with family dynamics, and trying to find his place in the world, all while the cameras were rolling. As the show progressed, we watched Malik grow up right before our eyes. The writers gave him age-appropriate storylines that reflected his maturation from a mischievous kid into a responsible young adult. By the 9th season, his character was even expecting his first child with his girlfriend, showing just how much time had passed and how naturally Doc Shaw had aged into these more mature storylines. The success of House of Payne opened so many doors for Doc. In 2008, he was a presenter at the 39th annual NAACP Image Awards. The following year, in 2009, he won the Young Artist Award for Best Performance in a TV series for his work as Malik. Things were absolutely looking up for this young actor who had overcome so much tragedy early in his life. But behind the scenes, Doc was fighting battles that nobody in the audience could see. In 2009, Doc Shaw joined the cast of the Disney Channel sitcom The Sweet Life on Deck for its second season, playing Marcus Little, a former Grammy Award-winning musician whose career ended after his record label dropped him. He appeared in 27 episodes, bringing that same natural charisma that made Malik Payne so beloved. Then came Pair of Kings on Disney XD, where Doc played King Boomer, one of two fraternal twins who discover their heirs to the throne of a Pacific island called King Cow. The show ran from 2010 to 2013, and it was here that Doc got to showcase yet another talent, music. He made his singing and rapping debut on the show's theme song, Top of the World, performing alongside his co-star Mitchell Musso from Hannah Montana. On the surface, everything looked perfect. Doc Shaw was living the dream that so many child actors aspire to reach. He was working consistently on hit shows, building a solid reputation in the industry, and becoming a household name for kids and teenagers across America. He even appeared in films like Thunderstruck in 2012 and had a role in the blockbuster Dawn of the Planet of the Apes in 2014. But underneath all that success, Doc Shaw was carrying pain that was slowly eating away at him. And it all centered around something that millions of people struggle with: his weight. Let's talk about something that doesn't get discussed enough when it comes to child actors: the relentless criticism and bullying they face, especially when it comes to their appearance. Doc Shaw wasn't just dealing with the normal pressures of being a teenager. He was doing it under the microscope of public scrutiny, with millions of people watching his every move. Doc has been incredibly open about the bullying he experienced throughout his childhood because of his weight. People gave him cruel nicknames, body-shamed him relentlessly, and made him feel like he wasn't good enough because he didn't fit into Hollywood's narrow definition of what an actor should look like. And here's the thing that a lot of people don't understand. Those scars don't just go away. They stay with you. In interviews, Doc has admitted that he still struggles with self-confidence and self-esteem issues because of that childhood bullying. He's described how those experiences left deep scars that never really heal completely. Can you imagine being a kid, living your dream, working on shows that millions of people love, and still feeling like you're not enough because of how you look? But it wasn't just about the emotional pain. Doc's weight was actually putting his health in serious danger. He's been candid about the fact that he was very unhealthy, very overweight during those years. His family has a history of diabetes and other weight-related health issues, and Doc could see himself heading down that same dangerous path. At a certain point, he realized that if he didn't make a change, he could face severe health consequences that would affect the rest of his life. Doc Shaw has described himself during that period as someone who was caught in an unhealthy cycle. He was eating poorly, not taking care of his body, and dealing with the emotional weight of the bullying on top of the physical weight he was carrying. It's a vicious cycle that so many people can relate to. Feeling bad about yourself leads to poor self-care, which leads to feeling even worse about yourself. The breaking point came when Doc looked at himself and realized he had a choice to make. He could continue down this path and let the bullies win, let his health deteriorate, and let his father's legacy slip away. Or he could fight back, and fight back he did. Around 2013 and 2014, Doc Shaw made a decision that would completely change his life. He decided to take control of his health, his body, and his future. And what happened next was absolutely remarkable. In a span of just 18 months, Doc Shaw lost between 60 and 65 pounds. Let that sink in for a second. 60 to 65 pounds in a year and a half. That's not some quick fix or fad diet. That's a complete lifestyle overhaul, and it required the kind of discipline and determination that most people simply don't have. So, how did he do it? Doc has been incredibly transparent about his weight loss journey because he wants to inspire others who are going through similar struggles. He started by completely changing his diet. He began drinking fresh juice for breakfast every single day, replacing unhealthy meals with protein-rich foods and meals packed with vitamins and nutrients. He swapped out junk food for protein bars and made conscious choices about everything he put into his body. But Doc knew that diet alone wasn't enough. He threw himself into physical activity with the same passion he brought to his acting. He started playing basketball and football regularly, went to the gym consistently, focused on weightlifting and boxing, and turned fitness into a lifestyle, rather than just a temporary goal. He's talked about how being physically active helped him embrace life and all it brings, giving him not just a healthier body, but a healthier mind and spirit. Here's what's really incredible about Doc's approach. He didn't hire expensive personal trainers or rely on Hollywood's exclusive weight loss programs. Instead, he turned to the most democratic resource available, the internet. Doc researched workouts on YouTube, found diet recipes online, and used social media platforms to learn everything he needed to know about fitness and nutrition. He proved that transformation is possible for anyone, regardless of their budget or resources, as long as they have the determination to make it happen. And Doc used all that pain from the bullying as fuel. He took every cruel comment, every hurtful nickname, every moment when someone made him feel less than, and he channeled all of that into motivation. As he said in one interview, losing weight was one way he could answer back to all those people who had hurt him. But more importantly, it was about answering to himself and honoring the life his father would have wanted for him. When House of Payne returned for its 9th season in 2020, after years off the air, fans were absolutely shocked by what they saw. The Malik Payne they remembered was gone, replaced by a completely different-looking Doc Shaw. He was lean, fit, had grown a beard, and honestly looked like a completely different person. And, unfortunately, instead of celebrating his incredible transformation, the internet did what the internet does best. It jumped to the worst possible conclusions. Social media exploded with speculation and concern. People were saying Doc looked sick, that he looked old, that he didn't even look like himself anymore. The comparisons to Chadwick Boseman's situation started almost immediately. If you remember, Chadwick Boseman, the star of Black Panther, had undergone a dramatic weight loss while secretly battling colon cancer. When he passed away in August 2020, many fans felt guilty because they had criticized his appearance without knowing he was fighting for his life. So when people saw Doc Shaw's transformation, those same fears and concerns resurfaced. One Twitter user wrote, "I'm not saying anything is wrong with him, but the same things y'all said about Chadwick y'all are doing to Doc Shaw, who plays Malik on House of Payne. Saying he looks old and sick, that he doesn't look like himself. You never know what people are going through." Another fan tweeted, "I don't appreciate any of y'all talking about Malik after what happened to Chadwick Boseman." Number House of Payne. The sentiment was clear. People had learned from the Chadwick Boseman tragedy and didn't want to make the same mistake of judging someone's health based on their appearance. But here's where the story takes a really important turn. Doc Shaw stepped forward and set the record straight. He wasn't sick, he wasn't dying. He had made a conscious, deliberate choice to transform his life and his health. This wasn't a tragedy in the making. This was a triumph that deserved to be celebrated. Doc addressed the rumors head-on in multiple interviews, explaining that his weight loss was the result of dedication, hard work, and a commitment to living a healthier lifestyle. He wanted people to understand that what they were seeing wasn't illness, it was wellness. It wasn't the end of something, it was the beginning of a new chapter. The public reaction really highlights something important about our culture. We're so conditioned to expect the worst, to look for tragedy, that sometimes we can't even recognize triumph when it's staring us in the face. Doc Shaw's transformation should have been celebrated from the moment people saw it, but instead, it became a source of concern and speculation. It's a reminder that we need to be more careful about making assumptions about people's lives and health based solely on their appearance. Once Doc Shaw had successfully transformed his own life, he made a decision that shows the true depth of his character. He decided to use his platform to help others, especially young people who were going through the same struggles he had faced. Doc started speaking at community events, schools, and seminars, sharing his story with young people who were dealing with obesity, bullying, and self-esteem issues. He's been particularly passionate about combating childhood obesity, recognizing it as a serious public health crisis that affects millions of kids across America. In one interview with Roland Martin on News One Now, Doc emphasized the importance of parents including their children in weight loss plans and encouraging them to embrace fitness. He told parents to take their children out for walks, to make fitness a family activity, and to help their kids develop healthy habits early in life. He stressed that kids don't necessarily need personal trainers or expensive gym memberships. Instead, they can use resources like YouTube for workout videos, take advantage of active video games like Connect, and simply get outside and play. Doc has also been incredibly candid about the mental health aspects of his journey. He's talked about how getting out of high-stress zones, spending time in nature, and staying physically active all contributed not just to his physical transformation, but to his mental and emotional well-being. He's encouraged young people to find motivation within themselves rather than always relying on external sources, while also acknowledging that having good people around you for support is crucial. What's really powerful about Doc's advocacy work is that he speaks from a place of genuine understanding. He's not some fitness guru who's always been in shape telling people what to do. He's someone who lived through the pain, who understands the struggle, who knows what it's like to be bullied and to feel like you're not good enough. That authenticity makes his message resonate in a way that generic health advice simply can't. Doc regularly credits his mother Tammy and his aunt as his biggest supporters throughout his journey. He's remained grounded by surrounding himself with people he trusts, people who knew him before the fame and who will be there long after the cameras stop rolling. His close relationship with his mother is particularly touching. He frequently posts pictures of her on Instagram with heartfelt messages expressing his appreciation for everything she's done for him. So, where is Doc Shaw today? Well, here's the good news. He's thriving. House of Payne is still going strong, currently in its 13th season as of 2024 and continuing into 2025. Doc has appeared in over 253 episodes of the show, making Malik Payne one of the longest-running characters in Tyler Perry's television universe. The show airs on BET, and it's still pulling in solid viewership numbers, proving that audiences still love the Payne family after all these years. Doc Shaw, now 32 years old, has maintained his healthy lifestyle and continues to look fit and energized. He's active on social media, with over 300,000 followers on Instagram and over 100,000 on Twitter, where he shares updates about his life, his work, and motivational messages for his fans. His net worth is estimated to be around $750,000, earned through his successful acting career, music endeavors, and modeling work. While that might not be megastar money by Hollywood standards, it represents years of consistent work and smart career choices. Outside of acting, Doc has continued to pursue his passion for music. He's a rapper and singer, with his music available on platforms like Spotify, where he has over 9,000 monthly listeners. He's also a member of the Omega Psi Phi fraternity, staying connected to a brotherhood that values achievement, scholarship, and service. Doc has named Don Cheadle, Denzel Washington, and director Ron Howard as people whose careers he'd love to emulate. When it comes to his personal life, he's been rumored to be dating actress China Anne McClain, who played his younger sister Jasmine on House of Payne, though neither has publicly confirmed their relationship status. His favorite TV shows include The Office, Big Bang Theory, Top Gear, and Modern Family, showing he's got pretty good taste in comedy. The best advice Doc says he's ever received is to stay true to himself regardless of what he's doing in life. It's simple advice, but it's clearly something he's taken to heart throughout his career. He's never tried to be anyone other than himself, and that authenticity is part of what makes him so relatable and beloved. Doc Shaw's journey from tragedy to triumph teaches us so many important lessons that go way beyond just Hollywood or weight loss. Let's break down some of the biggest takeaways from his story. First, trauma doesn't have to define you. Doc lost his father at 2 years old, one of the most devastating things that can happen to a child. But instead of letting that loss destroy him, he used it as motivation to honor his father's memory by pursuing the career his dad had started for him. He turned his pain into purpose, and that's an incredibly powerful thing. Second, the scars from bullying are real and they last. Doc has been honest about the fact that he still struggles with self-confidence and self-esteem issues from being bullied as a child. This is so important for people to understand, especially parents and educators. The words we use and the way we treat young people, particularly about their appearance, can affect them for the rest of their lives. We need to be more conscious of how we speak to and about others, especially kids who are still developing their sense of self. Third, Transformation is possible for anyone. Doc didn't have access to private chefs, expensive personal trainers, or Hollywood's elite weight loss programs. He used YouTube, researched diet plans online, and got active using resources that are available to literally anyone with an internet connection. His transformation proves that change is possible regardless of your circumstances, as long as you have the determination and discipline to make it happen. Fourth, turning negativity into motivation is one of the most powerful things you can do. Doc took all the pain from the bullying, all the cruel comments and hurtful nicknames, and used them as fuel to transform his life. Instead of internalizing the negativity and letting it defeat him, he let it drive him forward. That's not easy to do, but it's a skill that can change your entire life if you can master it. Fifth, using your platform for good matters. Doc could have just lost the weight, enjoyed his success, and moved on with his life. Instead, he chose to be vocal about his journey, to share his struggles openly, and to use his story to help young people who are facing similar battles. That kind of vulnerability and service to others is what separates people who are just successful from people who are truly impactful. And finally, health is holistic. Doc's journey wasn't just about losing weight. It was about mental health, emotional healing, building self-esteem, and creating a lifestyle that supported his overall well-being. He recognized that physical health and mental health are deeply connected, and he addressed both aspects of his transformation. That's the kind of comprehensive approach to wellness that actually creates lasting change. The story of Doc Shaw, the young man who brought Malik Payne to life, is so much more than just a celebrity weight loss story. It's a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, the power of determination, and the possibility of transformation even in the face of tremendous pain and adversity. From losing his father at age 2 to being relentlessly bullied about his weight, from health scares related to obesity to completely transforming his life in 18 months, Doc Shaw has been through more challenges than many people face in a lifetime. But he didn't let those challenges break him. Instead, he used them to build something stronger, something better, something that could inspire others to believe that change is possible for them too. Today, Doc Shaw continues to entertain audiences as Malik Payne while also serving as a role model for anyone struggling with their health, their self-image, or their past trauma. He's proof that your past doesn't determine your future, that the critics and bullies don't get the final word, and that you have the power to write your own story regardless of where you started. So here's my question for you. What's your Malik Payne moment? What challenge are you facing right now that feels insurmountable? What transformation do you need to make in your own life? And most importantly, what are you going to do about it? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Have you been inspired by Doc Shaw's journey? Did you grow up watching House of Payne? Do you have your own transformation story to share? I want to hear from you. And if this video inspired you or taught you something new, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another deep dive into the untold stories behind your favorite celebrities. Remember, every person you see on screen has a story that goes deeper than what you see on camera. Doc Shaw's story is a reminder that behind every smile, there might be pain. Behind every success, there might be struggle. And behind every transformation, there's a person who decided that enough was enough and chose to fight for a better life. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.